This also goes for every Trinbagonian who gone to live in a foreign land. Now is the time to come home and do something instead of staying out there and freezing. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us go hand in hand, because this is our...
Yes, now is the time for we, the people, to work together and build Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, because this is our home. Yes, you might be in the United States, you might be in the UK, you might be in Canada or some other country around the world. And yes, many people travel to work, travel to greener pastures because they want to achieve things, and nothing is wrong with that. But never forget, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique belong to you, belong to we, the people. This is our homeland, and we must do everything to build it, to enhance it, to transform it, to make it better. I met a friend only recently, and he said to me, Kem, I never thought I would be back here in Grenada. And thank God he was good to his family members and friends, and ultimately he returned in good standing. Whatever transpired that caused him to return, he returned in good standing with his mother and with his father, because he never turned back on them. While he was out there, he sent money back home to renovate, to repair, to upgrade, to expand the house. In other words, they were upstairs, he fixed the downstairs, he fixed the roof upstairs, he gave them a vehicle, he fenced the place, but he never returned for 32 years. But whatever transpired, he's back home. But he returned home in good standing. And I think that's the message. This is your home. You could go wherever you want to go, but there's a great probability that you might be back here someday. So please, let's work to build it. Let's work to make it better, to enhance it. And I think we all will be happy at the end of the day. I want to encourage the folks on Facebook and on YouTube to please share the live. Sharing is caring. When you share the live, you give your friends who are on your page the opportunity to be a part of the conversation, to be a part of the dialogue, because your friends may not be my friends. Your followers may not be my followers. But when you share the live, they may take time to listen to what is being discussed, the information that we are disseminating right here. So please share the live. I want to start off in a real way by thanking the people who assisted in, firstly, the GoFundMe drive. I did announce that my computer that I normally use, that got burnt. And after a while with technology, those things do happen. And I had a backup computer, and because I haven't used it in a lot of years, so the one I was using was functioning well. So I never had the cause to use the backup for maybe about 6 or 7 years. I never had a reason to use it. So I forgot the password and everything else. But then we were able to reset it and, get it back to factory settings. But you have to get a new hard drive and you have to upgrade the Windows and so on. And that in itself is another task. So I did announce what took place, and Marilyn Benjamin, a usual supporter of this program, decided with her son to do this GoFundMe campaign to get me a computer. Initially, I was kind of hesitant, but she said she will embark upon that drive on her own. And a number of people donated, gave towards the cause. And I can tell you, a number of other colleagues said to me, pull it down. Let her pull it down, because the optics and other things like that. And I decided I am not going to make her pull it down. It was her own drive, and she took that initiative, and that's the leadership. And she did it. A number of people gave. I think she raised about 1,000 US. I think she raised about 1,000 US. All right. And let me just get the amount. I saw it earlier. I think she raised about that 1,000 US towards that drive. Let me just click on it and I should be able to pull it up. All right. So I think she raised that amount. Let me see how much she raised. And that was really good, the initiative. Really good, right? So she raised just a little under $1,000. She raised 970 US, just a little under that amount. But she was able to put the rest, right, to purchase the computer for about 1,300 US. So she was able to put the balance and purchase that and send it to me in quick order. I received it last Friday. I received it, was it Friday or Thursday? No, actually Wednesday. Well, Thursday I got it. All right. I was out of Ireland, but I received it anyways from a good friend who came from the United States of America to attend a funeral and also the rally. So I want to thank Miss Benjamin and her son, and I want to thank all the people who gave to the cause. So I got the iMac desktop, and it's already in good condition and working. I also received another computer from a good friend through another good friend, brand new Dell computer as a backup. So instead of getting one, I got two computers. And that's the blessing. That's the blessing that always come my way once there is a need. And I am not really worried about people and what they would see. attacks will always come. There will be haters. There will be folks who would say all kinds of stuff. But many a times, those things don't move me because I know that I am protected, one, by the Most High, and I'm surrounded and supported by good people, home and abroad. So again, I want to express my appreciation to Marilyn Benjamin and her son and all the people who gave towards the cause, all the individuals who went on the GoFundMe page and decided to give. All right? Thank you very much for doing so. So, Glenroy Bettel, thank you very much for donating 100 US. Julie Bettel, thank you very much for donating 100 US. Samantha Samuel, thank you very much for donating 20 US. Yvonne Regis, thank you very much for donating 50 US. Cindy Grampy, thank you very much for donating 50 US. Sandra Mark, thank you very much for donating 100 US. Lincoln James, thank you very much for donating 116 US. Agatha Nelson, thank you very much for donating 71 US. And we had, all right, Kennedy Phillip, thank you very much for donating 100 US. And we had an anonymous giver, two anonymous givers of 100 US, 100 US. And then we had another anonymous giver of 13 US. All right. So I want to thank you very much, all the people who gave towards that GoFundMe drive. And thank you, Miss Benjamin, for doing that. Thank you very much. Because I never asked you to do it. You took on your own voluntarily and you did it. And that is love. That is genuine love. You're sincere. No one had to ask you to do it, but you did it because you wanted to see me with a brand new computer to continue the work. So thank you very much. And all the people who gave. And the good friend who worked through another good friend and they want to remain anonymous, I want to thank you sincerely. So two good friends, one here in Grenada who communicated with another in the United States. And tonight, I received that second computer. So I want to thank you very much. They want to remain anonymous, no name, no warrant. Keep it that way. The only reason why I mentioned the people earlier who gave towards the GoFundMe is because their name is actually public on the GoFundMe page. All right? So again, that's the only reason why I mentioned their names. So folks, I thought I should express my appreciation early in the program tonight and let you know that I received both computers, the iMac computer, that's an Apple product, and the Dell computer, both modern, small, and cozy, all right, and working well. Thank you very much. But let's get into the meat of tonight's discussion. And may I add, you see, when they attack Kem Jones, they lend more blessing. They open the floodgates so that blessing can come my way. So people would reach out to me and say, Kem Jones, this guy is saying all manner of things about you. This party official is saying all manner of things about you on the other side. And I say, don't worry them. I say, ignore them. Let's remain focused. But anytime they attack me, anytime they say things about your humble servant, more blessing comes my way. Because what I do know is that God Almighty is at the center of what I do. I'm not perfect, no, but I believe what I am doing is a calling. It's not by accident. I had to do this right here for the last, 11 years and counting. So it's not by accident. And then I also know that good people, home and abroad, always by my side to support what I do. Because from day one, I think that was a part of the calling. You have to do this, and I will make sure that Grenadians, home and abroad, stand with you and support you to make sure that you're successful with what you're called to do. And I think over the many years, that has been very, very clear. So again, thanks. Folks, let us get into the meat of tonight's discussion. I had the opportunity to just get a little listen of a program that Keith Mitchell has from time to time. He doesn't have a huge following or viewership or listenership because he's not really relevant. He's past tense, but he's not going away. He's like a thorn in the flesh of the NNP, and particularly Emlyn Pierre, because sometimes people wonder who's the leader. Is it Keith Mitchell still, or is it Emlyn Pierre? So the guy said this about Peter David, because Peter David recently was given a license or granted a license under the Citizenship by Investment program to be an agent. So he is a licensed agent. And he's not doing anything illegal. He's a Grenadian. He's a lawyer. And he has to survive like all other lawyers who are agents under this program. He may know of people who want to become citizens of Grenada. Nothing is wrong with that. So Keith Mitchell said this about Peter David, and it caught my attention.
Aforementioned MP, he was recently licensed as a local agent for the CBI program. What does this kind of appointment mean for transparency, accountability, and public trust when a political figure becomes deeply involved in a sector that handles sensitive national?
Well, I think that's person who have to deal with that themselves. And that's the point I'm making. You've never seen me or a member of my family being involved in sensitive political matters, national matters of this nature, because I believe it's fundamentally not right. No one could point their hands at me in that way. All the propaganda that has been said, not one evidence of any personal interest in things of this nature. So I think the individual will have to be able to explain that. I don't think he needs me to comment on it. He knows that it's not right. And therefore, he should have to face the consequences of an answering to the public on a serious matter of this nature. I don't see why you should be an MP representing the people of the country, and at the same time having an important stake in as an agent in a program. I don't see that as being a good thing. It may not be illegal. I am not saying it's illegal. That's for the lawyers to speak to. But I think in terms of how it appears and the message it's sent is not wise. But that's my position, and I think other people might see.
So Keith Mitchell made me laugh today because he said, well, nobody can point any finger at him. Anybody could talk about his family or anybody who, use words to that effect. But folks, do you know that Keith Mitchell's son was appointed legal advisor, I think, in the Ministry of Finance under the same Keith Mitchell-led administration? And that was a very controversial one because folks were saying, well, you are more or less responsible for government and for the Ministry of Finance. And your son being appointed a legal advisor in that said Ministry of Finance. But Olinga is a very nice guy. So I'm not going to say anything bad about him. I think he stood up for his mother against a man who, in my belief, became a lock changer. And that affidavit spoke volumes about the state of mind and the whole affair, the whole relationship, and how that individual treated Olinga mother. It's sad, but at least Olinga stood up for his mother and did what any son will do, defending his mother. So take a bow, Olinga. I would not say anything bad about you. You're a nice young man. You're cool. But there was a particular time when he, Olinga, was appointed as legal advisor, I think, in the Ministry of Finance. Some title like that. Advisor, legal advisor, something like that, in the Ministry of Finance. But forget Olinga. Keith Mitchell got a blockout, and he made reference to, or folks made a reference to some family member of his who passed away around that time. And he got that blockout at the Happy Hill Secondary School. And when I investigated, I understand it was one Dennis Campbell, some Dennis Campbell, who passed, an individual who was involved in some call center business. That is what I understand. I could be wrong, but that is what I understand happened. But I want to make the point, and I'm going to play back what Keith Mitchell said, just the beginning of that.
The aforementioned MP, he was recently licensed as a local agent for the CBI program. What does this kind of appointment mean for transparency, accountability, and public trust when a political figure becomes deeply involved in a sector that handles sensitive national?
Well, I think that's person who have to deal with that themselves. And that's the point I'm making. You've never seen me or a member of my family and being involved in sensitive political matters, national matters of this nature, because I believe it's fundamentally not right. Mm-hmm. No one could point their hands at me in that way. All the propaganda that has been said, not one evidence of any personal interest in things of this nature. So I think the individual will have to be able to explain.
Right. So I am saying Keith Mitchell was Prime Minister of Grenada. And Keith Mitchell's cousin had a private, or was involved in a private call center business. Private. So it's like, for example, Digicel or Flow, right? They're private companies. Just giving it as an example of a private company. Private. They're not a government entity. So they make their profits and they could have shareholders. They could, they could do whatever they want with their money. It is private. So this guy, Keith Mitchell's cousin, was involved in a call center business. It was private. The company went into some financial difficulties, a private company. So maybe they didn't manage their resources right, or when I say resources, it could be human resource or cash, Maybe they did not manage it right. So they went into financial problems. But it's a private company. So that private company should have approached a bank to get bailout, to get refinancing, that kind of thing. But instead of approaching a bank, the company involving Keith Mitchell's cousin approached the Keith Mitchell-led administration, the government, to say to the government, we need you to help us, to bail us out. The Keith Mitchell-led administration went ahead and invested $9 million into a company that had financial difficulties. A company that was in the red. And any prudent investor will not just invest money in a company that more or less went bankrupt or had financial difficulties. You want to assess the whole company first, whether it's viable still, whether they could survive and make a profit and all of these things. And then it was promised that we will get 40% returns on that investment. $9 million. $9 million. Taxpayers' money. But remember, it was a private company involving Keith Mitchell's cousin. And Keith Mitchell was prime minister and the NNP administration was in charge. You tell me, because I am no forensic expert. I am not a lawyer by profession. I am just a Grenadian. I am a citizen of Grenada. I am a taxpayer of Grenada. And you can actually do your own analysis. Just think about it. When that company received the $9 million, they say, boy, if we could get that $9 million like that, then let us approach the same Keith Mitchell-led administration, the same NNP administration, for a guarantee to sign with a bank. So you sign a document with a commercial bank, right? A lending institution, saying to them, if this company fails to pay you, the taxpayers of Grenada will pay you. But it's a private company. It's not a public company. Private. So the Keith Mitchell-led administration gave a guarantee to that bank, to that lending institution, for another $9 million. So $9 million was invested, and we were told that we will get 40% returns on that investment. But you invested, so the government, the NNP administration, the Keith Mitchell-led administration invested in a company that was in financial difficulties and problems. So here what happened? That's $18 million. Huh? The company later went bankrupt. The company later went bankrupt. And we never got any money back. No returns on our investment. Well, not our investment. The NNP administration investment. That they take taxpayers' money and invest it in that field company. So we never got any returns. So that $9 million just vanished like that. Disappeared. Meaning we never got any returns on it. We lost it. And then taxpayers had to come now and pay the bank because the NNP administration gave the bank a guarantee. So the NNP administration became the guarantor, guaranteeing that if this company fails to pay, the taxpayers of Grenada will pay. $18 million. And because the NNP administration assumed liability or ownership, so to speak, for that failed company, when the government sold the shares, government taxpayer shares, in the then Cable and Wireless, and taxpayers supposed to receive 4.5 million, approximately 4.5 million. That's supposed to go in the consolidated fund. That $4.5 million, that approximately $4.5 million went to pay the debts that the same company was owing Cable and Wireless. So instead of taxpayers getting that approximately $4.5 million, Cable and Wireless got it because the company was owing Cable and Wireless. So approximately $22.5 million just vanished like that. We lost approximately $22.5 million with this bad deal, this call center fiasco involving Keith Mitchell's cousin. And Keith Mitchell was Prime Minister at the time. And it was the Keith Mitchell-led administration that entered into all of these bad arrangements where we lost approximately $22.5 million. But the same Keith Mitchell today commented on Peter David because he's an MP and he became the new agent for the Citizenship by Investment Program, or MIA, this whole agency that handles that. And he had this.
The aforementioned MP, he was recently licensed as a local agent for the CBI program. What does this kind of appointment mean for transparency, accountability, and public trust when a political figure becomes deeply involved in a sector that handles sensitive national?
Well, I think that's person who have to deal with that themselves. And that's the point I'm making. You've never seen me or a member of my family being involved in sensitive political matters, national matters of this nature, because I believe it's fundamentally not right. No one could point their hands at me in that way. All the propaganda that has been said, not one evidence of any personal interest in things of this nature. So I think the individual will have to be able to explain that. I don't think he needs me to comment on it. He knows that it's not right, and therefore he should have to face the.
Right. So that was Keith Mitchell today. But remember, that was Keith Mitchell back then with the call center fiasco.
I have a problem in the clandestine
So that's Michael Batiste, same Michael Batiste.
in how the government finance call center. Mr.
At the time, Michael Batiste was the leader of the opposition. He won his seat and he was the leader of Her Majesty's opposition at the time. All right. He was with NNP, and then because they had 15 seats, he and Keith Mitchell and whoever had some falling out, and he became the leader of the opposition.
Speaker, sir, fellow Grenadians, lend me your heads, please. The government of Grenada came right here and amended the Finance and Audit Act to enable government to guarantee loans for a company involving the Prime Minister relatives. And I'll say it again, the government of Grenada came here in Parliament, changed the law. When we got the Constitution, they put certain safeguards in the Constitution to avoid abuse. That was given to us. So we don't just do nothing. But we came here, Mr. Speaker, and what we did? Changed the law. There was a time when he used to come here and fling arm, job for the boys, job for the boys, job for the boys. What is it now? Money for your family, money for your family. That's what it is here today. Absolutely nothing wrong. There are those who have millions in Swiss bank accounts, banks in the United States. If they want to help their family start a business, go into the bank like every other normal Grenadian citizen and stand the security for that person so they could get the loans, Mr. Speaker. Do not use government money in that kind of way. That is my problem with the center.
The member said that the government guarantee a loan to a project which members of the Prime Minister family was involved. I said, Mr. Speaker, and I need to repeat, I have no difficulty with that, and I am proud of the fact that members of my family, some members of them at least, are involved in a project that brings hundreds of jobs to rural people in the country, Mr. Speaker, so I need to make that as a fact. So I am proud of that, and I will repeat it in time in my presentation, Mr. Speaker. I have no problem at all. If the member has a problem, let him speak again about that.
If the government is laying out the cash, plus all the duty-free concessions, the other people don't have a dime. I'm saying to you, fellow Grenadians, I am not against the center. I am saying is the manner in which it was done. The other people, including the Prime Minister's relative, is not at risk in this venture. You, the Grenadian people, who is at risk. It is your money that was given to them. That enterprise was to fail, Mr. Speaker. One of them, he don't even have the guts, Mr. Speaker, to put his name on the document.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I really should be the Minister of Finance explaining this, Mr. Speaker. Really should be. But I think it's important that members should not be imputing that any company received a certain amount of money from government, Mr. Speaker, and by the way, the figure was over $9 million, and that government got 40% for $9 million investment. This is absolutely false, Mr. Speaker. The government has provided a guarantee for the $9 million. It did not give $9 million, a guarantee, Mr. Speaker, has been given, plus the government invested $9 million, Mr. Speaker. What is being pointed out, Mr. Speaker, here is that the $9 million will be repaid.
Right. So Keith Mitchell, there speaking, said that the government invested $9 million in that company to get 40% returns on the investment. And he said, look, the $9 million will be repaid. That was not done. It was not repaid because the company went bankrupt thereafter. Then a $9 million guarantee was given to that company. So the government of Grenada signed with a bank saying, give this company $9 million. If they fail to pay, we, the taxpayers of Grenada, Carriacou and PT Martinique will pay. So that's $18 million because the company went bankrupt thereafter. But you see, the NNP administration, in my belief, was wanton with taxpayers' money. They were irresponsible with taxpayers' money. You don't just go and invest in a company that coming to you, saying to you that they need cash because they're in financial difficulties, and you just pump money into that failed company or bankrupt or mismanaged company. But again, it was taxpayers' money, and they didn't care, in my belief. They just pumped that kind of money into the company, and the money just vanished because we never got returns on it. The company went bankrupt. And that's the history of the NNP administration and the bad conduct, the bad management, the bad everything.
By the company starting in March. So the government has not put in money that is not coming back to the government. The money is being returned to the government, so it's like a loan, Mr. Speaker, and the money will be repaid from March. And we're still getting 40%. In other words, the money is being returned to us, and we're still getting 40% shares. So the government, for no permanent investment in the company, is now getting 40%. And hundreds, thousands, over 1,000 jobs are being created. Mr. Speaker, I just want to clarify this. I think it's very important that that information be made clear.
Leader of the opposition.
We had a finance committee meeting. It's inscribed in the records in this house here. And if the honorable member had a problem with the minutes of the finance committee, before it was confirmed, he should voice those objections, Mr. Speaker. I am basing my statements based on records that was approved in this honorable house. The call center, Mr. Speaker. The Grenadian people is getting a raw deal there. Their money is at risk. That's what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker. Who vets?
Right. So that is when Michael Batiste had a little sense. Right? That is when Michael Batiste had a little sense. And I think he spoke about that, about NNP and so on, sometime back too, you know. I think he did that.
The Prime Minister is the biggest beneficiary of foreign interference in our local politics. In 1985, after the intervention, the United States of America, along with the Caribbean islands, went up to Union Island. The new National Party was not born in Grenada. The new National Party is a Vinci. The new National Party was born in St. Vincent, in the Union Island of St. Vincent. It was there that they put together a team, including Dr. Mitchell, flew a plane over Grenada in the 1985 election to keep the late great Sir Eric Gairy from winning the election at that time. So the interference of foreigners in Grenada politics, Dr. Mitchell can't complain about that. He's a beneficiary of that, and the biggest beneficiary of that. Dr. Mitchell said he's going to write to the United States complaining about WRB. What a joke. I can't believe that. I can't believe, I did not hear it, but I take the word from the editor of Grenada Today that he said it. We want to ask the Prime Minister, E.J. Miller, an American con man, you guaranteed over $38 million US for E.J. Miller, a United States fraudster, and you gave him 200 acres of lands in Mount Hartman for the building of a hotel. E.J. Miller did not even sprinkle one ball of gravel or a binder on the roads in Mount Hartman. He drew down on our monies and he disappeared. Prime Minister, were your hands frozen? Were your hands broken at the time? Did you write the United States government asking them to conduct due diligence on E.J. Miller before you grant him the millions of dollars in guarantee? What about Van Brink, Prime Minister? Did you write to the United States government about Van Brink? Van Brink came here, gave you a photocopy of a gem in lieu of the millions of dollars in the Treasury as required by law. You accepted that. Did you write to the United States government? What about Eric Steiner? That was a fraudster that was on the run. He was fleeing. He was a fugitive, fleeing prosecution in the United States. You met with him, Prime Minister. Did you write to your friends in the United States government asking them why Eric Steiner was a fugitive, why he was fleeing justice in the United States of America? How conveniently, when it suits you, you write to the United States. How about Lev Model? You remember him? Lev Model was an ex-convict. He spent years in a federal prison in New Jersey. Did you do due diligence on him? Did you write to the United States of America inquiring who Lev Model was? Lev Model not only was sheltered in Grenada, but he was given call center. And let's talk call center a little bit. Call center is a company that was owned by Dr. Mitchell family, where he guaranteed $18 million in the first instance, and then the Patricia Antwine, the accountant general, diverted $4.2 million from Cable and Wireless dividend to that company. So you're looking at a company that was given to Lev Model where $22 million of the Grenadian people's monies were put in the hands of a con man and an ex-convict, Lev Model. Did you write to the United States of America asking about Lev Model? Did you use the MLAT Treaty? Did you write to the United States of America using the MLAT Treaty, the Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty, which we signed with the United States? Did you write to them using that treaty to extradite E.J. Miller to Grenada so he could come here and face prosecution? I don't know why the Prime Minister is jumping and showboating like that. The Prime Minister must believe that all Grenadians gone senile. Now, the last time he wrote to the United States government was when he...
Yeah, so that's Michael Batiste, yeah? The same Michael Batiste. Oh, God, boy. That's the same Michael Batiste who was on the Ride Along show and was asked...
What take on the rally yesterday?
Well, I think it was a decent turnout. All kudos to the National Democratic Congress. I don't feel there were much people from the area of Telescope present at that meeting. I don't know if it's because they're holding some resentment towards the government for unleashing terror on them a few months ago when.
But how did you come to that conclusion, Michael? That there was not much people from Telescope area.
Let me finish and then you prove me otherwise, okay?
I want to know, because that has to be a great sort of AI you have to conclude that the people that are there are not from Telescope.
Well, because of the amount of traffic and the buses and the mobilizing and all of that, obviously.
There was not a lot of buses from outside.
So they walk?
Are you in Grenada right now, Michael? Or are you in New York?
No, I'm in New York.
How did you come to that conclusion? Who told you that?
So, what, Junior? I mean,
I want to know because I was there. I walked past there a couple times and I couldn't tell that. I didn't come to that same conclusion. I just saw people.
Well, you don't know the soldiers you don't know the people from the area, so how would you know that? You're a stranger in the area.
But how did you know, looking at it from online, did you assess, do you have like, I was speaking to Mr. Pierre last week and he said that he have like also AI face recognition software that could identify face.
No, you don't need that. You could look and you could see where they're coming from. It's a strategic area in Telescope where they're at, and you would see the foot traffic of people moving in and out. And when the buses are gone, you would see who's left. I mean, come on, you know the old thing. You don't have to conk them when they come. You look at.
Yeah, so that's Michael Batiste. Same guy, not here. He's in the United States. And oh boy, it's not even funny. So I am saying to you folks out there, Keith Mitchell made that pronouncement about Peter David, but I put some information out there to say to you, Keith Mitchell should be the last person. And look, Peter David, I don't care about his politics because I know that this party that he formed is only good for mess and pee. You know, them old people, they normally have a party or a posy under the bed. That is what he formed or created. That's only good for mess and pee. That's not going to go anywhere. So forget about Peter with his stupidness. But he's my partner. He's my good pal. I pity him. So I'm not really worried about Peter. But Keith should be the last person to talk about anything regarding family or regarding anybody close to him involved in anything, government or anything anyway. He should be the last person to talk. Because Michael Batiste, when he had a little sense, exposed a number of things with Keith Mitchell. But, you know, Michael Batiste turned a little potong, a political potong, a cocktail potong, and he has lost his way. That is why he's speaking all this nonsense. And I said this morning, folks, you have to be very careful with where you consume information, who put it out there and what they have to say, because they get the platform to vent and they go and they talk all kind of stupidness because they believe you're going to grab it and run with it. And many of these things are not even factual. All right. So I thought I should play that piece tonight. And the next piece I want to play is with Christopher Diali Jr. This guy needs some guidance.
Afternoon. So, walking around my constituency this afternoon, some constituents raised some truly good questions about the state of our country, and I would like to relay them to you. These questions really do deserve some consideration. One of those questions are, do MPs need vehicles to work? And the simple answer is yes. Second one is, do taxpayers need to buy them new vehicles every 2, 3, or 5 years? Most countries in our region and across the globe have said no. So why is Grenada moving in this direction now? Why aren't MPs in Grenada comfortable to use their personal vehicles to carry out the work they volunteered to or for? I'm not sure. Young people keep asking me whether hard work really matters these days. And that is something that is truly concerning to me. They look around and think the systems are stacked against them. They think that no matter how hard they work, there will always be people who can cut through the system and get everything easier for them. They want to know if merit still counts. Decisions like rewarding MP with vehicles weaken that trust.
Right. So this guy knows fully well that these vehicles were never designed for the member of parliament personally. So he knows that. He knows that these vehicles are for the constituency office and the constituency operations. He knows that. He's not stupid. But he gives this impression. He gives this impression that this thing is for the MP. This is not for the MP. This is for the constituency. Every constituency has an office with staff. So, you know my position, folks, on these vehicles and the $10,000 allowance given to these opposition MPs. And this new vehicle for the constituency offices. You know my position on that. I would crush my enemies. I will not help them in any way, shape, or form. I would not give no 10,000 constituency allowance to them to do anything. And that constituency office will not get that vehicle. So you know my position on that. But this guy, who is the caretaker for the NNP for South St. George, he knows what he's doing. Because these vehicles are not given to the MP personally. They're for the constituency. Because the NDC is trying to build institution. They don't care who is the MP. They're concerned about the constituency. Because this term, you may have this MP, and the next term, you may have a different MP, but the vehicle remains with the constituency. So this guy is giving the impression that this thing is going to the MP, but that is not the case. That's not the case. But he knows what he's doing. So let's go back.
Good afternoon. So, walking around my constituency this afternoon, some constituents raised some truly good questions about the state of our country, and I would like to relay them to you. These questions really do deserve some consideration. One of those questions are, do MPs need vehicles to work? And the simple answer is yes. Second one is, do taxpayers need to buy them new vehicles every 2, 3, or 5 years? Most countries in our region and across the globe have said no.
Right, but taxpayers don't buy these people vehicles. They don't buy them any vehicle. The vehicle that those MPs have, that's their personal vehicle. That's not vehicle given by the government of Grenada to them. So this is not factual. And you know what's amazing? When the NDC came into power, they met a system from the NNP where MPs, members of parliament, were free to go to the central police station on the Carenage and fill up their vehicles. And no matter how many vehicles they had, they can do so at different intervals freely, but taxpayers have to pay. And when you do the math, on a monthly basis, they were actually filling up $2,000 worth of gas or more. Not only that, they had a driver who was paid almost $2,000 a month, costing taxpayers almost $4,000 per MP. The NDC changed that. And they are giving MPs $2,000 allowance, traveling allowance. So they have to use it to buy their gas or they have to use it to pay whoever driver they want, or they have to drive their vehicle for themselves. So it's saving taxpayers a lot of money. All right, but this guy, he knows what he's doing.
So why is Grenada moving in this direction now?
But Grenada is not moving in that direction. This guy knows that what he's saying is false. But the NNP puts it up on their page and they circulate this thing all around the place. He knows that what he's saying is false. The government is not moving into that direction. These vehicles are for constituency, the constituency office, not personally for the MP in the constituency.
Why aren't MPs in Grenada comfortable to use their personal vehicles?
But the MPs, they're using their own personal vehicle. MPs are using their personal vehicle to do their stuff in their constituency.
Carry out the work they volunteered to or for. I'm not sure. Young people keep asking me whether hard work really matters these days. And that is something that is truly concerning to me. They look around and think the systems are stacked against them. They think that no matter how hard they work, there will always be people who can cut through the system and get everything easier for them. They want to know if merit still counts. Decisions like rewarding MP with vehicles weaken that trust.
But MPs are not rewarded with vehicles. No. Those vehicles are for the constituency office because they do not have one to do the work that they should do. That is simple. I mean, for me, I would not give those opposition constituency offices nothing. I'm different. But I'm saying it is not factual for this guy to go on air or online saying those things. And it's on the NNP Facebook page. This is not factual. This is not. And you're young. You just come in the thing. All right? You're fresh in the thing. You need to stop that. You're not starting off on a good note. Because ordinary people listening to this thing would realize that you ain't ready yet. You would realize that. You just come around. Calm down. All right? And stop making yourself look foolish.
An NMP approach puts urgency and importance first. It looks at the full map of national needs. It avoids spending that only benefits a narrow group.
And I just told you what the NNP had in place. And this guy's talking this nonsense. You just come around. You kind of have to go and, research the thing, find out a little more about NNP Pass and what was in place. And then you could come back and talk to me. All right? Folks, I want to thank you for being a part of the program. This morning, I told you that there is a fundraiser in Montrose on Friday. And it was for the raising of funds toward helping a young person with cancer. But I got that mix up. So it's just a fundraiser that they're having in that polling division. All right, in Montrose on Friday. A breakfast from 6 a.m. And they're encouraging you to come out and support them. All right, I think it's at the Diga bus stop. So please support them. All right. So again, I want to encourage you to support them. Just correcting that. Because I got that kind of mix up there. The Diga bus shed. So that's Friday at 6 a.m. So thank you, Debbie, for clearing that up there with me. Because I thought it was helping that young lady. But no, it's a fundraiser that they have. And there's some other ads and promo that I have to throw there. I'll do it another time. Folks, take good care. Have a wonderful night. I'll be back with you tomorrow.